and even heated it up, stoked it, and then sat back like a scientist and watched the student see how he handled it. Because if you can't handle it now while I'm present, you'll never be able to handle it when I'm gone. Oh, what a wise father and a wise mother he was, like a master sensei in the arts. When you go to the dojo, is that what they call it?
Yes, sir.
To learn the art, right?
Yes, sir.
You have a sensei, right?
Yes, sir.
Or master teacher. He makes you bow, doesn't he?
Yes.
What does that bow mean? I must submit to the teacher in order to grow in the wisdom of the master, that I may one day become a master. I must bow down to submit to the master, that I may die, that the master may live in me.
Yes, sir.
The master can't take it easy on you. Oh, please, master. Don't stop.
That's right.
Oh, don't throw me. Not hard anyway.
Go ahead, brothers. Go ahead. That's right.
Sound a little funny?
Yes, sir.
I'm not.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to be funny. But what I'm trying to say, brothers and sisters, is when you go to the dojo, the master teacher will have another student or someone take you to the threshold of your pain. And then you do this and they let you go. Then the next time, they'll see if they can take you to more pain and more pain and more pain until you can be in pain and fight through your pain, man. Because you can't give up. You got to keep on fighting. The Quran said, even though you're in pain, your enemy's in pain too. So fight on and drive, man. You can't give up. Now look, brother. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad took Malcolm right to that threshold of pain with the jealousy of the laborers against Malcolm.
That's right.
And when that jealousy got hot, Malcolm and I would talk. Malcolm sometimes would want to give up.
Yes, sir.
That's not the true spirit. Sometimes you may want to give up, but if you are to redeem a people, you can't give up. You die on your job.
Yes, sir.
When you get this kind of a work, you don't give up and say, I'm tired. You die on your post. When Master Farad Muhammad was present, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was sick one day, and Master Farad Muhammad said, where were you? He said, I was sick. Master Farad Muhammad said, then if you were sick, you go to the rostrum and die on your job.
Yes, sir.
Don't tell me nothing about you sick. Get up and go to your job. Your people are sick. We can't have you giving in to sickness. Get up and work until you can't work no more and die on your job. I'm telling you what he said his teacher told him. Well, if his teacher told him that, he told me that. Die on your job. Die on your post. He hated people who, when the going got rough, they would hand in their resignation. I can't take it anymore. You big sissy, get back on the job. What's the matter with you? Look here, brother. Of course, he didn't use that kind of language. I got so messed up one time, I wrote him my resignation. Back in 1960, 59 or 60, somewhere around in there, I wrote him my resignation. They were biting me up there in Boston. I'm a little young man trying to do the work, and people talking about you, whooping on you, beating on you. You trying to do good, man. It's something when your people turn on you and you're trying to do good, man. Nothing hurts like your own turning on you. And I wanted to resign, and I wrote the letter, and one of the secretaries told me after, when he got the letter, he rolled it up and threw it in the waste basket and said, in other words, I thought I had me somebody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And he's quitting. But I didn't quit. He didn't even answer my letter, and I stayed on the job. Finally, I said, I'm going to keep on stepping. And look, brother and sister, I'm going to get to the end here. And here's the end. Sister said, drink some water. I think I will. Now that's a good mother. See, that boy needs water. I say, take you some water. But keep on going. Let me just tie this up so we can go. My dear brothers and sisters, look. Nothing hurt me more than to see Malcolm turn away from his teacher and then condemn his teacher.
Yes, sir.
And unfortunately, he was assassinated. I was his student.
That's right.
He was my teacher.
Yes, sir.
He was my friend. He was like a father that I never had. But when he left his teacher, who is the real object of my love, I couldn't follow him. That gave me great pain to see him go in one direction and me go in another. One day, I'm going to say this, when Malcolm was about to make his move away from the nation, he and I were sitting together in that blue Oldsmobile that's right down at Malcolm X College. And he said to me, Brother Lewis, one day my enemies are going to be yours. And he said, I wish it was you being an example for me rather than my being an example for you. I didn't know what he meant. But Malcolm knew that I was going to become the national representative of the Messenger after his departure from the nation. And Malcolm knew that the same enemies that he had within would one day be my enemies. Look at this now. But he said, I wish it was you being an example for me rather than my being an example for you. That was to tell me that Malcolm was telling me that his life was to be an exemplary life, and if I drew well from the lessons of his life, I would live. But he died that I might live to this hour. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad looked at me one day and said, everything that Malcolm wanted will come to you. I'm not going deep into what that means. But sure enough, I became the Messenger's national representative. And sure enough, the envy and the jealousy became tremendous among the leadership. I was a very successful minister of the Messengers. In fact, I was so successful, this is the truth, my work in New York was far, far greater than Malcolm's, though Malcolm laid the base. It's true, brothers, sisters, it's true. When a man can leave his home and go to a stadium filled with 70,000 black people and Puerto Rican people, and they came not to see a champion of boxing but to hear a representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this is unheard of. I was riding high, brother. I mean, when 70,000 people come out to see you, brother, I guess you'd ride a little high too, brother. That's right. I mean, I was stepping that day. In fact, there were so many cars on the Triborough Bridge leading to Randall's Island, I couldn't get over there to speak in my car. I had to hire a helicopter to fly me to the field. Yes, sir. And as I landed in my helicopter, not mine, but the one I rented, one of the ministers was heard to say, The only way the messenger can top this, he got to land in the mother plane. Look at the thinking now. Look at the thinking. This is 74.
Yes, sir.
I went to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was so happy. I told him that 70,000 people were out there, dear apostle, to hear your teachings. And he looked at me and sad expression came over his face. He said, the time will soon come, brother, when you may go to the temple and you may not find a believer there other than yourself. Brothers and sisters, I couldn't handle it. The man knew what he was talking about. I couldn't see it. By that time, the jealousy was getting so thick, my friends and brothers in the ministry were eating me alive. I decided I would go to his table and just have it out with all the top workers. And I came ready to fight.
Yes, sir.
When I got to the table, it's the first time I think I raised my voice. I said, dear apostle, we will never be successful as a people as long as envy and jealousy is in the ranks of those who lead the people. And I'm waiting for him to say, what do you mean? And then I start dealing, you know. You know, when you're ready to fight and mommy's there, you know, and your brother been messing with you, you know how you can really knock them out, you know, because mommy there, she'll stop it if it get too bad one way or the other. Well, let me tell you what he did. He hit the table and threw his hand, he had his handkerchief in his hand, he hit the table and said, brother, seek refuge in Allah from the envier when he envies. And he threw down his handkerchief and he got up and he walked out of the room. And as he walked out of the room, my whole thing was blown. Because I was ready to fight, and now I can't fight because the teacher wouldn't even be the referee, you know what I mean? A few minutes later, he came back in the room and sat down. Everything at the table was quiet, and he looked at me and said these words. He said, you know, brother, whenever you're going to put a piece of board in the corner of the building, to uphold the weight of the building, you have to put a lot of stress on that board. And if it cracks under the stress, then you know that's not the board you were looking for. So you throw it away and you get you another one. That's all he said. And we went on to eat. I don't remember nothing else that night. Now, brothers, it took me 3 years. Sisters, it took me 3 years to understand what he was saying. He was saying, I put the stress on Malcolm. I wanted to see if Malcolm was the one to sit in my seat.
That's right.
I put it on Malcolm, and he broke. And I'm putting it on you now. And if you break, you're not the one I'm looking for. I'll throw you away and get me another one. Because somebody has got to be able to uphold the weight of the building and take the rebellious children that will rebuke you and scorn you and hate you and malign you and vilify you and speak evil of you and plot against your life. But you can't fight back. You got to keep on stepping. And if you keep stepping, you will outlast their envy and their jealousy until you win their hearts for God. And now I sit in the seat of that Father. And I have been prepared for everything that the white people and you will throw at me. And I can promise you I will not break. I can assure you I will not bend.